Hello, this is Brian. Welcome back to my shop. If you follow my channel, you know that I've been remanufacturing a FARMALL H governor. I've made a 2-series video set on remanufacturing the governor. Today I'm going to make a third video. The governor is now hooked up to a carburetor on my workbench, and I can show you how the two work together in concert. It's rare that you see a governor actually hooked up to a carburetor and you can see the operation of both at the same time. So I'm going to show you how that works, and I'm going to show you the 5 adjustments that you need to make on your governor. I also want to point out one other thing that I just mentioned. This governor is remanufactured. There's a difference between just rebuilding something, taking it apart, cleaning it up, putting a new spring in, using gaskets and stuff like that. This thing was completely gone through. So let's take a look at this governor and see how the two operate in concert. Okay, here's the setup. We're in my woodworking shop where it's nice and warm. I have the governor on the bench and a FARMALL H throttle body hooked up. So first of all, let's just rotate this way. I want to show you how little action or movement there is in the arm versus the full throttle movement. Watch the control input. The throttle is closed right now. The tractor's at idle. And notice the linkage is about, I'm going to call that the 9 o'clock position. Let me operate the input. That's all there is before the throttle or before the governor starts hitting the spring. And in that time, the throttle goes from about the 9 o'clock position, maybe it's more like 8:30, up to close to the midnight position. And then after that, I have to push pretty firmly, because now the spring, let me go show you that. So let me show it to you from this view. There's idle. There's that. Well, let me do this. There's idle. Just that little bit moves it all the way. And now as I push down harder, now I'm working against the spring. I can't even hardly push it hard enough to get this wide open. It's clamped down kind of precariously in my little Stanley workbench thing here. So I've always kind of wondered, how far do you have to open the throttle when you're starting your tractor to get wide open throttle? And the answer is not very much. So that is how the two operate together in concert. If I can get both of these in the frame at the same time. Look how little movement it takes to open the throttle 100%. Watch right there. And then the rest is in the spring. So let's talk about the adjustments that you'll have to do. There's 5 adjustments. There's the idle speed in the carburetor, and we're going to do that last. There's the height adjustment. You have to adjust the rod length. You have to adjust this minimum travel, and this is the maximum RPM. So let's start with this one first. What you have to do to adjust this is you have to take this pin out. And then you just adjust this with your fingers up and down so you can rotate the shaft at its easiest. This just kind of lines, there's a bushing bearing in there. And it just kind of lines the shaft up so you have the smoothest travel in the shaft. That, everything is turning as smooth as it can. And that's just a matter of loosening those two and sliding this up and down. Then when you have that the way you want it, you put this to maximum RPM, That's up. You can't see it because the carburetor is hidden by the manifold, but on my workbench we can see it. The carburetor is wide open. And you adjust this linkage so this lines up freely. Look how easy I can turn that pin. So I can insert that pin easily. There's no binding going on. So now this linkage height is adjusted to the height that we have this tube. And once again, all the way open. And then you would loosen this nut and you turn this. Of course, it's different on an M&W. Until this pin, you can just slide in and out. Now I happen to have the cotter key in, and I'm not taking that cotter key out. That thing's hard to get out. But you can see how free it is. Okay, so that's 2 of the 3 adjustments that you need to do. Let's talk about this guy right here, this minimum. It just, what it does is, oops, I moved my flashlight. If I put this up at the minimum idle, this is idle, something has to stop the linkage. The linkage has to have some sort of bottoming out. Because you don't want the linkage to bottom out on the rods or the bushings or something like that. And this just sets the stop. It's kind of like the stop. Maybe that's a more appropriate word. Now I have this set so this spring is right in the middle. So there's some degree of play. And I need that little bit of play because in the end it's this screw that's going to control the minimum speed of your engine. Not that one. And if you have a situation where turning that screw on the carburetor doesn't do what you want it to do, it might be that this is set too aggressively. But I think I have mine set just right. Let me push that back in. And right there, that's how much slop I have, which allows that to be effective. This one on the bottom is the maximum speed the engine's going to go. And of course, if I were to push down to my fingertips, and I don't even have enough strength to push down hard enough, but this is the maximum speed. I didn't change this when I took this governor apart and rebuilt it, so I think it's pretty close. But I do have a meter for checking engine RPM, and I will set that on our tractor. Now let me show you how the minimum speed works. Idle. Let's turn this all the way to idle. Notice the contact right there. I'm going to prove to you that this idle screw is still in control. Let's go up here. I'm going to get my screwdriver. There. And watch this. I'm going to turn it a half a turn out, which will slow the engine down, and you'll see the butterfly move, hopefully. Oh boy, that's so hard to see. That's so, I should have maybe put a feeler gauge in there. Let me increase it, see if you can see it in the camera. I can see it with my eyes. That's so subtle. It's hard to see. But that is how you adjust your idle. So, I showed you how to adjust this, and that adjusts the idle. Let me return it all the way to idle. Idle speed. This is just freeness, so the shaft rotates without binding. This sets the rod height. Again, you do it at maximum, so it's as free as can be. And I have this set. I'll squeeze it together. That lifted the handle. So I have a little bit of adjustment in my spring, and then maximum will have to be set when the tractor is running. If you want to see it one more time, let me go this way because I can get them both in the frame at one time. You can watch everything operate together. There's minimum, and there's wide open, and if I push down harder, I'm exercising the spring now, but the governor is already at maximum. It wants all of the engine speed that it can get. And since remanufacturing this governor, everything is just so right. So if you're going to work on your governor, suddenly there's a handful of videos out on YouTube. I have a couple on my channel. Kenny Kizel on Rusty Nuss Ranch has a nice series on rebuilding his governor. And Tim from Surviving Maine on a 20-acre farm also has a 5-part series on rebuilding a governor. Go out and watch those videos. Oh shoot, there's one other thing that I wanted to point out. I'll just tack it on at the end of the video. Make sure you pay attention to the distance between the spring and the fly weight. Right now I have the weight fully extended. And notice the distance between the weight and the spring. It's only like about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a touch more. It's not much. And I notice if I put the spring in 180 degrees, it actually clicks on the weight. I don't know what to think about that, if that's right or not. I didn't know there was a right or wrong way to put that spring in. I just noticed with this spring on this governor, that's what happens. And that explains why I have it set and installed the way I do. Well, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed my 3-part series on the governor. It was really fun to do. And I want to thank my friend Kenny over there at the Rusty Nuss Ranch. As he was doing his and I was doing mine, I think we exchanged about 1,000 text messages on sharing ideas and best practices and stuff. It was really fun, and it's really nice how our community comes together and helps one another out, and we get through these projects and share the knowledge. Once again, my name is Brian. Thank you for watching my video. Goodbye.